Hey everybody, welcome to God's Optics and Reloading. My name is Brian, and welcome back to part 2 of Reloading 260 Remington. Now, again, we're just going to keep going through what I'm doing through my process of reloading. And if you missed the last action-packed, riveting episode, here's a clip of what you missed. Now, I know that was exciting. Welcome to reloading. Anyways, reloading takes a long time, and there's a couple rules you need to definitely follow. And my number one rule is don't be stupid. I mean, come on, you can kill yourself doing this stuff, so don't be stupid. Number 2, buy a manual. There are so many reloading books out there. Nosler makes one, Lee makes one, Lyman makes one. Reading, RCBS, all of them. Just go get one and actually read it. That's how I learned. I read the manual, and I had some friends who reload, and so that helped too. So, anyways, those are my 2 rules. Pretty simple. So in today's episode, we're going to get into a little bit of resizing. I'm going to show you how I do mine, some full body sizing, some neck sizing, stuff like that. We're going to get into some neck turning, some neck measuring, all that stuff. So, this is going to be some basic stuff, and then probably in part 3, we'll actually get into charging and setting, seating depth, and all that stuff. So, stay tuned. I think you're going to like what you see. So, in the last riveting videos, we basically saw how I deprime, clean, all that stuff with my brass. Well, this is the next step I do. This is a brass annealing machine. I built this myself out of an old Dell computer case, and got the idea from an Australian dude. I believe his website is Skinny is a Aussie. I think that's his YouTube channel. If you type up brass annealer machine DIY, be careful while you're doing this, by the way. What I do is I separate I consider my good brass to be the Lapua brass. I like my Lapua brass. This is some stuff I've picked up off the range. Probably can't see it. I don't know. But it's Remington brass or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure what kind. R&P. Anyways, I don't consider that to be my good match ammo. So I use that brass while I'm setting this up, because you want to make sure you get your temperatures right. Use Templac. Set it up so you get your timing right. Essentially what happens is that sits in there, that rotates, that goes in there, 1, 1000, 2, 1000, 3, 1000, 4, 1005, 1006, maybe a little fast, but you're going to watch it. If you start seeing a lot of red coming off your flame, off that brass, you've got it too hot. You've ruined it. So you really want to make sure you set this up to get your brass up to about 750 degrees, and that way you're not killing it. So you're just annealing it, you're softening it up. It's something I like to do before I start resizing, neck sizing, whatever. Some of this brass, in this batch, a lot of this came off the range, so I'm going to be full sizing it. So I want to anneal it first, make sure I soften it back up a little bit before I start working it. So I don't want to work the brass too hard. I want it to last as long as I can. So anyways, here we go, and this is going to be some brass annealing. So while I'm sitting here still annealing brass, I can just kind of hear the questions. Why didn't you get an Annalise, or why didn't you get a Gerard, brass annealer? Well, me and a buddy of mine had a bet to see who could build one, and I guess basically do it the cheapest. Needless to say, I won, because he ended up buying the Annalise. He gave up. But yeah, so that's why. I mean, if somebody like Gerard or Annalise want to send me one to try out, whatever, hey, I'll be more than happy to do it. But for right now, this does exactly what I needed to do. And I think I've got like less than $100 in this, building this with all the motors and speed, variable speeds and on-off switches and all that cool stuff and hoses and whatnot. And I pretty much made it all pretty much what the Skinny Aussie guy said to do. Okay, so here we go. We're going to do some full length sizing here. I like to full length size my 260 Remington brass, especially stuff that you pick up from the range. You always want to make sure you full length size it, especially if you didn't shoot it out of your rifle. Once you start shooting it from your rifle, you know, you can go to just neck sizing if you want to, but that's completely up to you. Alright, so we've got our brass annealed, as you saw in our last riveting section, that whole annealing thing. So first thing we're going to do is do some full length sizing. So this is what I like to use right here, the sizing die wax. I also use the Hornady kind, whatever. And all I'm doing is I'm just taking my finger, grabbing one of our nicely annealed cases, putting a little on here. Now, this is a retting die, and all this die does is a full length size. This die does not touch the case neck. It doesn't deprime or anything. This is just a full length. Gotta get the right size shell holder here. Hold on one second. Let me grab one. Okay. Alright. So this die here, all this is a full length sizer. This does not touch the neck of the case. This just resizes down to factory specs. Oops. That's why you gotta move your bands to the right spot. So that's all that does. So what I do is I always will, just because I don't have to do it later, I'll just wipe that off. Grab another one. Just put a little bit of lube on there. Full length size. Wipe it off this way. You know. Now, what I'm doing here, you could do this with any caliber. So don't think that, you know, you're stuck with, oh, he's just doing 260 Remington. You could do this with 308, you can do this with 6.5 Creedmoor, you can do this 300 Win Mag, any you know, caliber you want to do. Now I'm using the Redding, let me tell you exactly what they are. These are the Redding competition bushing dies. So it basically comes with a full length sizer. It comes with a bushing neck die, and then it comes with a micrometer seeder, so that I can basically get my precision loads to be exactly what I want them to be. So anyways, I'm not going to sit here and make you watch while I redo all of these, because this, again, is the fun part of reloading. And when I say fun, I mean long and sometimes boring, but very repetitive, and for me, I like it. So that's how you do that's how we're doing the full length size. So now we're going to go to neck. So here we are with our neck bushing die. Now, what they tell you to do when you're using a bushing die is you want to take, I don't have a loaded round here, but I'm just going to show you real quick. You want to take a loaded round, and what you want to do is you want to take the calipers and measure the neck. Now this is not sized, so you know, we're just pretending here. So see, that says 0.294. But we're just going to say 0.294. So if this was a loaded round at 0.2945, you want to go down about 0.02 of an inch. So the bushing I would want to buy would be a 0.292 bushing for my neck sizing here. So this only sizes just the neck. So it's going to give you just enough squeeze on that thing to you know, just bring the tension down right to where you want the tension to be. That way you're not overdoing it, you're not underdoing it, you're not working your brass too hard. And by doing it this way, your brass is going to last a lot longer. So That's why the bushing neck size dies are good. They're more expensive. Now, can you use a regular, full length neck size die or collet die? Absolutely. With this stuff, it really depends on how precise you want to get, how much money you want to spend. That's another one. So, I got these for a really good deal. So, that's why I'm using them. I used a full length regular neck die. As a matter of fact, let's see. Do I have one sitting around here? No, I don't. I used lead dies for a long time, and they work great. So when you get into more precise stuff, and then here's another one. I had a question in the last one. Sorry, I just remembered. Do I sort my cases? And weigh them and make sure. I am not an F-class shooter. I'm just a PRS wannabe kind of guy. And so a PRS shooter buddy of mine said it best. Most shots you're doing are 700 yards. So for the extra tenth of a mil in accuracy that an F-class shooter would be looking for, it's not really worth the time to sit there and sort all your cases, sort all your bullets. There's not going to be that big of a difference for the PRS, precision long range stuff that we're doing. So I don't. Now, I do sort my cases by make. For instance, if I keep all my, like for instance, so here's two different kinds. I've got a Lapua, and I think this other one is a Remington or something. I'm not sure. So yes, I will keep my Lapuas and the other one separate because I like the Lapua brass. To me, it's a better quality brass than a lot of the other ones. So I separate my brass by make, but I don't sit there and weigh everything out and all that other stuff. So I'm not going to bore you with having to go through all these and reload all the necks and all that stuff. So we're going to go from here, and we're going to go over now to my next step, which is turning the necks and checking the neck wall thickness. So here we go. All right, so after we get done with the neck sizing, full length sizing, neck sizing, and all that good stuff, what I like to do now is I like to check my neck wall thickness. Now, this is right here is the Hornady concentricity tool. It is set up right now with the neck wall thickness gauge so that I can check the neck wall thickness and then trim. Now, you only are going to be trimming your necks one time. You don't keep trimming them over and over and over again. Really, you're only trimming these things to get the high point of the brass off. And so here's what we're going to do. Let me see if I can do this with one hand because I got the camera in the other hand. Okay, so essentially I had to put down my camera to get this to work. So as you can see now, okay, so we can look at this dial now and we can see that this piece of brass was at 0, so we're almost at I'd say right around 12.5 thousandths on the thickness. So as I rotate this piece of brass around, you can see that the thickness really isn't changing more than a total of maybe 1/1000th total, which isn't bad at all. If there's anything over that, I would say we need to trim the thickness down, and I may do that just so I can show you, just show you what it looks like to do it. But this one probably really doesn't need to be trimmed. Now here's another piece that we've got in here, and as you can see, this one's a little thick. This one's about 14 thousandths. And you can see the variation. It's going between 12. Yeah, see this one's got a real high side on the neck as I rotate it around. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to set this up in this machine here. And we're going to trim that down so that we can get all those high points off the brass. All right, so once we get this put in here, we're just going to rotate this. Push that through real slow. Okay, that's all you gotta do. All right, so we got this back in the gauge, and now we got it turned. So now we can see that the neck thickness is a little thinner. It's not sitting way up there. And you can see the variation now is right. So yeah, we've shrunk it down quite a bit. quite a bit on that variation. So we're good with that. So that's the only time we should ever have to trim that brass, or trim the neck wall thickness. And so basically that's the neck wall thickness, and that is my little neck wall trimmer, both by Hornady. And so what we'll do next is we'll get into reloading, charging, seating depth, all that good stuff. That's going to be the next video. So that's going to be it for this one. So basically now we have cleaned our brass, tumbled our brass, dried our brass. We have full length sized it. We have neck sized it with a bushing die. We have checked the neck wall thickness, and because we've never trimmed these before, we went ahead and trimmed the neck in this trimmer. So now we've got a nice consistent read on the thickness. It is only moving barely, that little tiny bit, which each one of those lines is, it looks like a half a thousandth. 0.0005. So that's tiny. So our thickness has improved. So now we don't have a high side on our brass. So that's going to give our neck, when we seat our bullet in there, that's going to give the neck tension a lot better tension. It's going to be consistent. Remember, the whole thing about all this reloading stuff we're doing is consistency. We want consistency in everything we do. We want it to be consistent so that every one of our rounds should be identical. So consistency, remember, consistency is the key in this whole reloading thing. Okay, so that's it for part 2. I hope you're able to get some valuable information out of this. If there's anything that you can think of that you'd like me to add to the part 3, let me know. I'm very open to comments and suggestions. This is a new channel, and I want to give you, the viewer, as much content that you want and or need to make your reloading, shooting experiences the best they can be. So, like I said, part 3 will be coming up soon. Have a great day.